throughout all of the 2022 NFL draft picks that the Minnesota Vikings used and got, there was a couple players that I'm really excited for. Obviously, guys like Lewis Cine. I think he's going to be just a headhunter out there, but in a good way for that Vikings defense, taking over for Harrison Smith, Harry the Hitman. One of my favorite Vikings of all time when it is all said and done. But another player that I'm particularly excited for is Brian Asamoah, the heat-seeking missile coming out. The former Sooner. And I think, honestly, if you take a look at Brian Asamoah, if you look at any tape, if you watched anything about this man, he's not going to wow you in terms of stats or production. Obviously, if you just take a look at his Oklahoma stats here, was a guy that never had over 100 tackles in college. But honestly, I am excited. We talk about a guy that had a total of 12.5 tackles for loss, 5 sacks, did have a pick, 80 tackles his senior year, that is, of total tackles. But at the end of the day, he is a heat-seeking missile, sideline to sideline, not the biggest, 6'1", 6 foot, 220, 230 soaking wet. But overall, there is no reason not to believe that Brian Asamoah will be one of the bright spots of this rookie draft class, especially when we talk about, because the new NFL is turning into those smaller linebackers that can run, that can handle the linebacker, or excuse me, the lineman that's coming down to block them. But honestly, Brian Asamoah is one of those guys. I think he's going to be a special player. And I know the Vikings brought in Jordan Hicks and also had Eric Kendricks. There's so many Harrison Smith, Harrison Phillips, so many Harrisons. But anyway, Brian Asamoah is going to be one of those guys that I think, just from the day one, obviously it's going to probably be on special teams to start things out with. And after a couple times of him taking somebody's head off, I think that they're going to be like, yeah, it's time to put him in. I know Jordan Hicks has signed him to, I think it was like a 2-year deal or something like that. But Brian Asamoah, I think he could push right away, could push Jordan Hicks right away for some playing time. I think he's better in pass coverage. I think he's going to be a sure tackler from sideline to sideline. I'm just so excited because, again, and if you watched any sort of tape on the Oklahoma Sooners this last year, there were 2 players that stood out. Brian Asamoah was one, and I felt like, honestly, it was because he really was the guy that really, to me, set the tone. Also, Perion Winfrey was the other player I was referring to. Dude's a madman. Obviously, Nick Benito was good as well. But those two, in Perion Winfrey and Brian Asamoah, just wow. Wow, set the tone for that defense up front and in the middle of it. Just flying sideline to sideline. I love it. I'm so excited for a guy like Brian Asamoah. Honestly, I didn't think he was going to fall all the way to the 3rd round. I thought he was going to be going before Chad Muma and all those guys. So, honestly, at the end of the day, he's probably a little undersized. I don't care. Put this man in. This guy's London Fletcher 2.0, going to be out there just making plays. Please, for the love of God, just put him on the field and let him do work. I think he's absolutely going to be one of those guys that just sideline to sideline, go get the ball carrier. And it's, I think he's a 3-down linebacker too. I think, you take a look at only having 5 sacks in college, being one of those guys that is not necessarily, doesn't have the size to be an edge rushing piece. I don't care. Leave that up to Danielle Hunter. Leave that up to Za'Darius Smith and everybody else. I don't care. Have this man just shoot the gap and just bet that one of those offensive linemen will be able to get there in time. I bet you they won't, because Brian Asamoah is a heat-seeking missile, and I think he's going to be a big-time player for the Vikings. Not just down the road, but I think he could contribute very early. Obviously, I think he's going to be a key special teams player, and he's going to find his way onto the field and never look back. But let us know what you guys think. Make sure you guys like and subscribe down below. Leave a like and a comment. It helps people find the show. Greatly appreciate all the support that we've gotten and continue to get. You guys are all truthful awesome. We love every single one of you. Now, down in the description below, you'll find all of our social media platforms, so give us a like and a follow there. Also, remember to give us a listen and sub on iTunes. And finally, if you have anything else you'd like us to cover, send us an email at thesportsbp@yahoo.com or put it in the comment section down below, and we would love to cover it. But let us know what you guys think about Brian Asamoah being a heat-seeking missile for the Minnesota Vikings.